This program is a paid commercial announcement and in no way represents the views of WPHT or its management.
Now on Talk Radio 1210, WPHT, WPHT HD, WOGL HD3, Philadelphia. Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor.
If we don't move in our own direction, we're going to become extinct. In fact, in some cases, we're close to being extinct right now.
Presented by Weinerman Pain and Wellness, serious doctors for serious injuries, and powered by the law offices of Pond, Lehocky, Stern, Giordano. Talk, listen, and speak to the region's most influential leaders. It's Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor.
Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor, live from the NFL Draft. A good evening, everybody, and welcome into our live edition tonight, presented by Weinerman Pain and Wellness, serious doctors for serious injuries, and powered by Pond, Lehocky, Stern, and Giordano. We come to you from the NFL Draft, the end of the NFL Draft, where when the stage concluded and the final pick was made about 17, 18 minutes ago down here on the Parkway, the final announcement was a thank you to the city of Philadelphia, with an estimated 250,000 strong over the 3 days. Earlier, at the start of day 2 down here on the Parkway, the commissioner started his day at the microphone thanking the city.
Here he comes, the commissioner of the National Football League, and he's got Ron Jaworski at his side.
Good evening. That's all right. Let's go. All right, just 1 second. Just 1 second, you can resume your booing. Last night was a tremendous success by any measure. And there are a lot of people to thank, but let me try to get a few of them in because it's very important. First, all the men and women who built this great venue, thank you for your tireless efforts. You did a great job. Thank you. To the mayor, to the city, to the Convention and Visitors Bureau, thank you so much for your leadership in making this a great evening and a great 3 days for Philadelphia as well as the NFL. And of course, to our wonderful host, the Philadelphia Museum of Art. Thank you for having us in this historic spot. This is awesome. And most of all, to you guys, the fans, you guys are the ones who bring the excitement, the electricity, and the support. So thank you, all of you. I was thanking you guys. Yeah, there you go. All right. I also want
Commissioner of the National Football League thanking the men and women, the skilled workers that built this unbelievable, spectacular area and staging area down here on the Parkway. Bobby Henon sitting in the big chair tonight for John Dougherty. I welcome him into the show. We'll get the seat. We'll have the first reaction from City Hall tonight with Bobby, and we welcome him into the broadcast. Bobby, how are you, sir?
I'm doing great, Krause. Thank you. J-Doc, how you doing?
Unbelievable, man.
Awesome job, PhillyLabor. Let me tell you something. It was a gigantic accomplishment that Labor put this together. Like I guess it was a tremendous amount of effort. 5,000 people, I think, in total, which includes the construction, the workers, the service, the security, and a tremendous amount of impact going right back to our city.
I mean, I call it a spectacle of unparalleled proportions, man.
Woo,
I mean,
J-Doc.
I know.
Whoa.
I let that one fly, Krause.
That was excellent.
I mean, but unbelievable. It's like a little city down here. And so proud to be a part of Philadelphia and great events like this. Unbelievable.
Bob, and I think you were right. And J-Doc, I've got to put an exclamation point. I'm not going to try and repeat the phrase, but I'm going to put an exclamation point certainly behind that. When you walked up into that staging area and you looked at the 3 tiers and you looked at the amount of work that must have went into being able to construct this. I said to Frank Thiel the other day, Bobby, I'm going to say it to you. There is no way that this event is executed and built unless you have the hands of all the skilled labor that put it together.
Well, skilled labor definitely made it happen. I mean, if you take a look at the stage, if you're watching it, if you were here, all right, you would be so impressed. This stage was like a performance stage that was at Wells Fargo or any other outdoor venue, all right, with Class A performers or major concerts for 150,000 people to see. So the display it gave to America and to our country was awesome.
And they said, I think, it's debatable, but I know some are saying it's the largest stage ever built. And if you go up close, and I'm so happy that I got a shot at seeing it. It looks like a permanent stage, man. I mean, it's unbelievable. If it's not the biggest stage, Bob, it's absolutely got to be one of the biggest stages, and just an amazing, amazing spectacle, man.
It is the biggest stage, to my knowledge. But, when you talk about the cooperation, there's a lot of labor management cooperation that took to make this event successful. From John Dougherty, the head of the Philadelphia Building Trades, Michael Barnes, who's going to be on our show here tonight with the stagehands, and all the other trades workers to make this happen. Right? We had our Palm Built Right management that had helped frame a work conditions here that worked in concert with the NFL.
I mean, look, at the end of the day, you can't do anything but be proud. The camaraderie, everybody just, you know what? You look at this is the time, Bobby, since you've been in office, and certainly it's been a historic time here in Philadelphia. You talk about the DNC, you talk about the Pope, and now you talk about the NFL draft. You're talking about such events that put Philadelphia on the world stage, and you got to be proud to be one of those leaders in the city, Bob. Hoping to spearhead this stuff. What is it like from your point of view, this historic time in Philadelphia?
Oh, it's amazing. I mean, we are a first-class city, and it does start with leadership. And our mayor, Jim Kenney, embraces the kind of visitor opportunities and national stage recognition because we have a lot to offer here. I mean, we are increasing our population in our city, so numbers are climbing. People want to be here. They want to go to school here. They want to work here. And, this is why we welcome these opportunities. And I could say that there is nothing but an uphill success for us.
Absolutely. I know leading up to this broadcast, and certainly leading up to the 3 days of activity that made up the NFL draft, there was a lot of conversation and a lot of discussion about how much visual awareness that the city of Philadelphia would receive just from the broadcast, just from the millions of people tuning in. Priceless. You cannot buy the amount of attention, the amount of visual that the city received over the last 3 days. And again, I can't say it enough, and I want the listening audience on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT to know it and to understand it. The event that we are at, where we are broadcasting live tonight, does not happen. It doesn't occur without Mike Barnes, without every single worker that strapped on the boots 5 weeks ago and built what is a spectacular event down here.
I mean, a commitment and a commitment from and a collaboration from a ton of people, and certainly, listen, what I'm really proud of also is I don't have the exact records, but no major incidents. I mean, a great showcase for the city. I mean, I came down here his first day today, but I mean, unbelievable pride. Bob, when you were watching, when you were here on Thursday night, what was it like, man?
I was here on Thursday, and I got to tell you, I trekked down from City Hall with my son and his two friends, and what was fantastic was everybody was happy. They were smiling. They were, visiting and patronizing our local restaurants and establishments. You had Bear jerseys, you had Saints jerseys, you had Eagles jerseys, overwhelmingly, of course, and you had Jets jerseys. They were all walking together, coming to the same location. And, tonight's guest, from Adam Thiel, our fire commissioner, our deputy mayor of labor, and Michael Barnes, and, of course, John Dougherty, and everything that he's done to make this happen is so appropriate to talk about the impacts. I'm going to say between 90 and 100,000 people Thursday night. Chicago last year had 80,000. So we surpassed that by 10 or 20,000 people just here in the city of Philadelphia. Can you imagine the economic impact that has? And I can't wait to hear from our deputy mayor who's going to talk about those impacts.
Richie Lazer will be along around 7:34, so we'll have him on the back part of the show. I quickly got a text already, so before we go to break, we always start the show when we're in the studio, and we're live, of course, today. And we always start the show when we're at the studio at Talk Radio 1210 WPHT with a meal. We always belly up to the table. We always have a
For
great
lack of
meal.
a better term, but yeah.
And what are we having here tonight on the Parkway? Right on cue is the drum roll. Boys, we're not eating here on the Parkway tonight because it was impossible to bring in outside food. But our partner for the broadcast tonight is Davio's Northern Italian Steakhouse.
Oh, man.
All right.
I
So
love
when the broadcast is over, we can go over to Davio's and we can have an unbelievable meal. Davio's Northern Italian Steakhouse, 111 South 17th Street. It is an absolute phenomenal place. A special thanks to Davio's. Even though we're not enjoying Davio's, first of all, you can't enjoy Davio's here.
Right.
All right?
So
but when the broadcast is over, Davio's Northern Italian Steakhouse, we're thrilled to have them and welcome them in to the big show tonight. Tony, thank you very much for the drum roll. It's Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor and John Dougherty. Bobby Henon in for John tonight in the big chair. J-Doc is with me. We'll have a couple of shout-outs and some social media hits from J-Doc throughout the live broadcast. And we'll take our first commercial break as we come to you. We're live from the NFL Draft, presented by Weinerman Pain and Wellness. Serious doctors for serious injuries. Back in a moment.
The commissioner's on the way. Guys, just enjoy the moment here for the commissioner walking to the podium. This is fantastic. Okay, with the 14th pick in the 2017 NFL Draft, the Philadelphia Eagles select Derek Barnett, defensive end, Tennessee. So Derek Barnett, the defensive end out of Tennessee, the player who eliminated Reggie White's name from the Tennessee record book for the most sacks, is now...
Original news stories, podcasts, columns from your favorite hosts, and more. Interact 24/7 at facebook.com/1210WPHT.
I won't participate on behalf of ourselves here at Local 98 or the Philadelphia Building Trades in conversations that are purely dominated on social issues that don't affect our jobs.
Live from the Parkway in the NFL Draft, it's Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT, presented by Weinerman Pain and Wellness, serious doctors for serious injuries. A good Saturday evening. Don't forget, coming up at 8 o'clock, the Dan Loney Show. We'll follow Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor, along with Bobby Henon, Councilman Bobby Henon in the big chair tonight. Bobby, nice to see you here on the Parkway, the stage of what was the biggest event over the last 3 days here in the city. Just unbelievable.
It was fantastic. It reported over 200,000, 250,000 people over 3 days. The weather was incredible. You couldn't have picked better weather for the 3 days. And I hope, all right, that the second year, the contingency for year 2 of the draft here in the city of Philadelphia becomes a reality. Yeah. I think we're in the front runner.
All right, good stuff. We'll talk more about that as the hour rolls along here on the Parkway. Deputy Mayor for Labor, Richard Lazer, joining us now on the hotline here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Rich, a good Saturday evening, sir. Thanks very much for the call in.
Oh, no problem. I'm glad to be here with everybody. I hope everybody's having a great time.
Out there with this
beautiful weather on the Parkway.
Good time down here, man. And I got to tell you, an unbelievable, as we've been talking about on the air, off the air, just a great, great visual and a great big success for the city of Philadelphia.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I was down there today with the family, and we were walking around, and it's just the buzz and the families that were there, the people that were having a great time. I mean, even just walking around the city on Walnut Street, there's people everywhere. The bars are full, restaurants are full. I mean, it's just amazing. I just want to give two big shout-outs real quick. I think there's two groups that we really got that made this thing possible. It was our city departments, all our workers out there doing everything, picking up the trash, putting up the barriers, all that stuff, and also our trades folks for the beautiful work they did. I mean, the Parkway looked amazing, and also our police and fire, because without those guys out there protecting everybody, making sure everybody, with this heat, making sure everybody has a good time protecting everyone, I think it was a great event, and it's just amazing what they did.
Deputy Mayor Bobby Henon here. Congratulations,
hey,
and you
Thank
are a hands-on deputy mayor. I know firsthand. I know it's great to take the family down here and have the kids seeing all this. There's a lot of activity that's going on, but you were checking out and making sure that public property that our
Yep.
police or fire and the command is set up. So, people don't realize what goes into it, and it's not just on game day or game day 2 or game day 3 and 3-day event. All right, it's weeks in advance to have this kind of economic impact. So can you start by saying how you coordinated all this and end with, did the mayor like and enjoy this event, and was he happy?
Oh, the mayor was thrilled. I mean, and he was out every day down there, seeing fans and promoting the city. And he says this numerous times over, and I'm sure, Councilman, you've heard this say this. The TV coverage of the city, you'll never can put a number on that, on what that does for us. I mean, 30 million plus across the country, across the world watching this, seeing Philadelphia, seeing the Parkway, seeing the Liberty Bell, and pictures of City Hall. You never can put an actual number on that. And I want to say, the managing director's office really took the lead on getting all the departments together with the Convention and Visitor Bureau months in advance, back when this was come down the pike into last September, and really got the department together, looked at the, like you said, there's so much plan that goes on this and nobody sees, reaching out to the neighborhood around the Parkway to make sure they're aware of what's going on, letting the businesses know which streets are going to be closed, what's the manpower out there for police and fire, how we're going to coordinate with the trades, and what our folks, city workers, are going to do. I mean, it's just months of planning that, like I said, most people never see to make this event.
Yeah, Deputy Mayor, and that's what I wanted to touch base on. From your office, tell me what the participation was like. Tell me what it was like, to help coordinate something like this.
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think one of the main things that we worked really closely with, and I have to give a shout out to, I said, the trades, and also Tony Wigglesworth from Palm Built Right, just to make sure we had a PLA in effect, to make sure everybody knew what their jurisdiction was, and make sure everything got off without any issues. And I think that's where my office was really played in effect, and also working with our city unions to make sure our guys we had coverage, making sure our folks were hydrated, making sure the trash was picked up, the neighbor. And I think the other big piece is too the community piece, because there's a lot of folks that live around that Parkway that we've had so much events there throughout the summer and throughout the year to make sure they're good. But I think the biggest piece from my office was working with the trades to make sure we had a PLA in place.
Deputy Mayor, it's Bobby Henon. A PLA labor harmony right here in the city of Philadelphia, and it works. Good job.
It worked great. It worked fantastic. I said Tony Wigglesworth was great at putting that together.
He is the best.
He is the best.
Deputy Mayor for Labor, Richie Lazer, joining us here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT as we broadcast to you live tonight on a Saturday night from down at the NFL Draft on the Parkway, where they made the final announcement, Richie, over 250,000 strong on the Parkway over this last 3 days. Pretty incredible stuff for all of the Delaware Valley to take in.
Yeah, Philadelphia really set the bar. The new bar on how to run this. And I think, I know they were saying earlier Jerry Jones wants this to come to his neck of the woods, but I think it's going to be hard to take it away from us.
Right. It's amazing. You talk about the commitment that the labor unions had in getting this done, and you talk about Tony Wigglesworth, who is awesome. We've had him on the program many times. Tell me what about the harmony. In other words, listen, a lot of unions down here, a lot of things going on. Was there a commitment right from the start to work together to create a harmonious, productive situation?
Yeah, I mean, definitely led by the leadership of John Dougherty, and he set the tone, and also with Mike Barnes, but also with every leader of each of the unions that was down there, with whether it's the carpenters, the steam fitters, the operators, electricians. I mean, everybody knew that this was important, that the Philadelphia had to shine, and who can make Philadelphia shine any better than the Philadelphia building trades? I mean, nobody. The way they put things together, the talent, the professionalism, and they knew that above everything was to make Philadelphia look great, and I think they've done that well above what was expected.
Well, listen, Deputy Mayor, we really we want to thank you for calling in. We want to thank you for the great work that you did, coordinating a lot of this stuff down here. An amazing spectacle, something that I think Philadelphia can be proud of, and hopefully we get to see it from years to come.
Yeah, definitely. I want to thank you for having me on the show. I really appreciate it.
All right, good stuff. That's Richard Lazer, the Deputy Mayor for Labor here on Saturday Night Live. We're going to take a commercial break, Tony. I know we're going in just a minute or two early, but let's go to a commercial break. When we come back, we'll have Adam Thiel, the Fire Commissioner. He's going to join us for 2 minutes. Mike Barnes will be with us at 7:34. Busy show as we roll on. Back in a moment.
Radio.com. Radio.com.
I believe there's room, for the national building trades, the local building trades, to have partnerships with the Trump administration as it pertains to energy, as it pertains to infrastructure, as it pertains to the undocumented worker.
Live from the NFL Draft, it's Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Still to come, Mike Barnes will join us. We'll have Mike Barnes here. And later on in the big show, before we sign off, Eagle kicker Caleb Sturgis checking in as he's in town and excited for the Eagles. So we'll have him as well. Right now, Adam Thiel, the Fire Commissioner of the city, joining us along with Bobby Henon and Joe Dougherty. I'm Joe Krause, broadcasting to you live from the Parkway.
Commissioner, welcome. This is Councilman Bobby Henon. How are you, sir?
I'm great. How are you? Thanks for having me on.
It's awesome. I'm glad you could join us here on the show. I know the first couple rounds, the Eagles picked some defensive players. Your role as commissioner here, you had to play the offense. So tell me how a commissioner deploys and sets up its command for an event like this, from staffing, from EMS, OEM. There's a lot that people don't know when you have to deal with 250,000 people over the course of 3 days.
Yeah, there's really a lot that goes on behind the scenes, and our firefighters, our medics, our dispatchers, all of our support staff. We had a lot of people down there over the past few days. It's certainly a great event. I was down every day, and Thursday night was pretty awesome, actually, being out there and being part of that. It has been a busy time, especially with the heat, but our medics have been busy in the first day tents. We certainly are glad everybody. Philadelphians just an incredible job. Showing our city off in the best possible way. I got to talk to the VP for safety, Kathy Lanier, with the NFL, and nothing but gratitude for all the work that our great men and women did, and also the great partnership that we have with the police department, streets, and everybody else. Just a great team effort, and how appropriate for the NFL draft.
Yeah, Commissioner. In hindsight, the city's on the spotlight. Tell me your assessment, now that it's in our rearview mirror, how proud of you or of the men and women that were working?
They just did an awesome job. We really had, of course, the staffing the first day tents was a big part of it. So we had medics and EMTs there, along with some physicians from around the city. They did a great job with that. We had firefighters on scene, a couple of different resource packages, our special operations folks, our bike teams. So we really did have a lot of people there. The command operation went very smoothly, a real team effort again between us, the NFL, some of our federal partners, and everybody else, and, of course, our Office of Emergency Management. So it was a lot goes into that behind the scenes, and I think we were really happy to have people there. And, the best thing is to help us help you by staying hydrated, and everybody just really did an incredible job.
Again, Commissioner Bobby Henon here, man. I can't thank you enough on behalf of City Council and the citizens of the City of Philadelphia, all right, for setting up the command that you did, coordinating with all the different agencies to make sure, all right, that public safety is first and that a successful event is broadcasted live to our nation. So kudos to you, all your supervisors, and the rank and file, and everybody who coordinate this giant effort.
Thank you again. It really, the credit really goes to the folks on the ground who were out there all these days. Look, the beat went on for the rest of the city. We had a very busy day on Thursday with more than 1,000 runs. Started the day with a 4-alarm fire today. We were out doing fire prevention activities. So while we were there for the draft, we had a lot of other things going on around the city.
Adam Thiel, Fire Commissioner here on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. Adam, a good Saturday evening to you, sir. Thanks very much. All right, that's Adam Thiel. Now let's bring in, stay on the phone, stay on the hotline. Let's go right to Mike Barnes, who joins us here on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor. We're live from Mike Barnes. What you built down here was absolutely, absolutely spectacular. Welcome in, sir.
Thanks a lot, guys. And I'll say it was a team effort. There was a lot of people that participated in this, not just the stagehands.
Mike, when you see the spectacle that was down here, unprecedented, how proud does it make you of what, this huge team, like you said, IATSE 8, all the other building trade unions, how proud does it make you when you see it get pulled off like you did?
I'll tell you, Joe, I've said this before in the talk show. My family's been in the stagehand business for 100 years. We built shows. So generation after generation would always say to the next one coming, you don't know what we did back in the day. My story was we built Live Aid, we built the Jackson Tour, we built the big Rolling Stones Tour. But I got to say, the men and women of Local 8 that built this show, built the biggest show I've ever seen in North America. Couldn't be prouder.
I mean, at the end of the day, Thursday night, we're talking 250,000 people here. How did it compare, Mike, with the Pope, with the papal visit? What was the difference?
So the Pope was much more technical. What we were doing is we intertwined a bunch of technology up and down the parkway, centered around the altar. In this event, the entire production was built on the Art Museum steps, and that took a lot of labor. It was labor intense, Joe. Very heavy. It was the heaviest show I've ever seen. And then when we were done building that monstrosity, the last 4 days in the pouring rain, we had to build Draft Town, which in itself was a whole nother show on top of the stage show. So it actually was a lot more labor intense and a lot more difficult than what we did with the Pope.
Michael, this is Bobby Henon. How you doing, mate? Great
Good,
jobs.
Bob.
Kudos to all your workers. I know, one of the things I pride myself on is going council undercover, and I was down here with you and your team. And it's not just the stagehands; it's the Teamsters, it's electricians, it's the carpenters, and many other trades that make this a success. All right, but people were trained. All right, and we just showed the nation again. All right, that we had trained workers. All right, that'll do it under budget, on time. Without an incident report, and I just want to thank you for all the coordination that you have put into this and making it a successful. Again, people don't realize you were building the stage for a week and everything that surrounded about it, and now you got to tear it down, right? Because we got business the city needs to go on. So people forget that the show's over, and then
the work just begins.
The breakdown starts. So
the
good luck
breakdown
and
will
be
start
safe.
tonight. The breakdown will start tonight with 300 people. It'll be real big calls for the next 3 days, and then it'll tear down as we get closer to the end. But it'll take about 10 days to take down. What people don't realize is while we were doing the NFL draft with 200, 250 people a day, we also did rims at the convention center, which was another big boom for the city. 2 major events at the same time, and we'll start loading in light there as we take down the NFL, which will add another $50 million of economic impact to the city. $30 million on rims, $80 million on NFL. These are big numbers. This is money that's being dumped in the city as a result of these big shows. I can't thank Mayor Kenny enough and everybody that brought this show here.
Hey, Michael, real quick, the individual that was injured down here, saw it on Facebook that he's doing great. All good there?
Joe, so glad you asked. I was going to give him a shout-out. Brian Crothers, new young member of Local 8. He was up there, took a fall, significant fall. The EMTs, the first responders, had him off the floor and into the ambulance within 4 minutes. Record time. got him down to Henon Hospital. He checked out a day later. I saw him in a picture with the Eagles cheerleaders yesterday. He'll be back to work in about 6 weeks. That is the best news I had throughout this whole thing, that young man, sustained not a significant injury, but a little bit of bumps and bruises.
Mike Barnes joining us here on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor, live from the NFL Draft in the Parkway. Mike Barnes, as we say goodbye to you, I stand in awe of you and all of the workers that pulled this off. I thank you very much, sir.
Guys, thank you, and I want to thank every one of my workers and all the union workers that were out there, our call stewards down to the last guy that was doing it. It was a team effort, and when you play as a team, you win. So thank you very much.
All right, that's good stuff from Mike Barnes. Joe Beliski will join us when we come back after the break. Caleb Sturgis will be along. We roll on from the Parkway. Back in a moment.
I've been coming out of step with them guys, okay? And I was a treasure of the Democratic Party. I've been a loyal Democrat my whole life. But I've told people, and it hasn't, like I told you, it just didn't resonate with this election. If you look at the last few years, I've been telling people we have to become a little bit more individual. We have to be more of our own brand. We have to do a better job at becoming a business.
It's Saturday Night Live on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT with PhillyLabor and John Dougherty as we broadcast to you live on a Saturday night from the Parkway and home of the NFL Draft, along with Bobby Henon and Jay Duck. I'm Joe Krause broadcasting to you live as the fans now, most of the fans have all filed out, and they've closed, starting to break everything down.
Appropriately so. We're here with it's just us and the workers. Got a couple shout-outs. Got a good shout-out to our good friend, Dominic Easterday from South Philly, 12 years old. He's got his styling, right? Got his throwback Eagles jersey. Also, I got a shout-out, Eleanor Desi, great friend of the program. Want a little message out to the West Catholic Centennial Gala, a Century of Excellence, which raises money for scholarships for kids going to West Catholic, will be held on Saturday, May 6th. At the Springfield Country Club. Festivities start at 6 p.m. and tickets are still available, and people can get them if they call Andrew Brady at West Catholic at 215-386-2244.
All right, good stuff, Jay Doc. Special thanks to Mike Barnes. Joe Beliski's the recording secretary for IATSE. He checks in on the hotline. Joe, are you breathing a sigh of relief? Do you get a chance to exhale, or how does it work?
I am. Yeah, it's been a long 4 weeks, that's for sure.
Joe, have you been have you been back and forth to the site and did you get an opportunity to see it in full action?
Yes, I was down there, several days in a row, helping everybody sign everybody in and everything. I helped fill the call. I sent everybody down, to the calls, down to the job. So
Joe, Bobby Heaton here. What was your call? 800 people? 500?
Yeah, anywhere from 250 to 350 a day, different days. Or it started out a little lighter 4 weeks ago, but now we're up to 350 people, tonight and then tomorrow as well. And as Mike was saying, it's going to taper off. But yeah, the numbers have been pretty staggering, and they, a lot of them are, last minute, add in a whole bunch of stuff.
Hey, Joe. Joe, let me ask you a question. Can you ever remember, especially IATSE 8, because you guys are in a lot of high-profile stuff, but you guys have been in the spotlight over the last year like nothing I've ever seen in my life. What's that like?
It's great. It's just the growth has been, excellent over the years with the bigger events we've had, between DNC, the Pope, just all the different conventions and the citywide conventions we're getting now. It's just, it's excellent. It's grown in such a growth over the past several years. It's amazing.
Joe Beliski joining us here on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor as we broadcast you live from the Parkway. Joe, that call number that you talked about, what does that mean now for the breakdown? And how long is this going to take to get it all back together again so it's all gone away?
They're saying around 8 to 10 days. You know, like we said, we have a very large call today starting around 5 p.m. It's going to be around 300 or so people. You know, that's a lot of people that wrangled around and, you know, break up into the different departments and everything. And they're going to work throughout the night, take a break, come back first thing in the morning, another 300 or so people, pack everything all day, get as much out as they can, for like breakdown, draft down, and all the other stuff. And then the following Monday, we'll start on the stage. And then, you know, it's going to take a while because they got to, like, build more stage up to take some down, kind of, because, you know, just how massive this thing is. You know, it's not just the stage, it's the whole theater that they build around the stage that's the big part. So, I mean, when we add it all together, it's enormous. So it's definitely something, you know, very interesting to look at. So.
Great job. I mean, just kudos to you, Mike Barnes, all IATSE 8 and the building trade. Just really proud to be here and witness this spectacle. Unbelievable job.
Thank you.
Good stuff. That's Joe Beliski, the recording secretary from IATSE. Tony, talk to me in my earpiece for a moment. I've lost track of the time. Do we have a commercial stop set, or are we? All right. So we're going to stay here. Still to come, Caleb Sturgis will join us momentarily. We'll get a quick 90 seconds with Caleb and get his perspective. Bobby Henon joining us in the big chair for John Dougherty tonight. Bobby, let me ask you, as a councilman, from a city perspective, when you show up at City Hall tomorrow, or you show up at City Hall on Monday morning, the hallways are going to be a buzz from this weekend.
Oh, I think it's going to be a lot of conversation about all of the positive things that happened throughout the last 3 days. And I got to tell you, I mean, you're talking about these job reports and filling these jobs. We have a lot of trained workers who work safe and who are ready to, you know, fulfill any other kind of major events, I think, that come here to the city of Philadelphia.
Councilman, let me ask you a question. You know, in today's world, you know, we talked about the preparation that, you know, we talked to the deputy mayor and you know, all the preparation that goes in. But let me ask you a question. I mean, when you're alone and you're sitting there thinking, in this crazy world as we have, and we know safety is such an important point. It's a showcase to the world. How does that play on you a little bit? Do you hold your breath, say a prayer, and when it's over, is there a sigh of relief?
Well, I think it's always a sigh of relief after the show goes off successfully, especially when you're having a $100 million impact in the city of Philadelphia. And I mean, that's why we do things like this, and that's why the mayor hires and searches for, you know, the proper commissioners, like Commissioner Thiel, who was here on our show tonight, who sets up command, works with our other agencies, our police department, our public property, or sanitation, or all the workers working jointly to make sure that the show comes off and goes off safe. So we hire the best. We are the best trained emergency management. We are the best trained public property. We are the best trained labor unions in the country, and we showcase it right here for the past 3 days. And the result is a successful show with a $100 million impact.
Awesome.
Live on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT with Bobby Henon, J. Doc, and Krause, broadcasting to you live from the NFL Draft on the Parkway down here in Philadelphia. Caleb Sturgis, the great Eagles kicker, checking in and joining us on the hotline. Caleb, a good Saturday evening to you, sir. Thanks very much for the quick call. We'll only keep you for a minute. I've got to ask you, man, there's so much buzz in the city of Philadelphia. It's hard to believe, and I know you're a very mellow guy, Caleb, but how excited are you to be back in town and to get ready to start going to work with this football team for next year?
I'm really excited, especially with the new additions. This is kind of the time of the year where you really set your 90-man roster. You get to know all the guys and really get to work as a team and try to fulfill your goals for the year.
You know, Caleb, you know, this is a labor show, and you know you're a union member. Tell me, so you're in the right place right now. Tell me a little bit about you know what it's like right now with the draft in town, with the NFL all over the place. What's it like? What's the buzz in the city?
Yeah, it's been amazing. I've just enjoyed turning on the TV and seeing the crowds. I mean, it's amazing how much the city of Philadelphia likes football, and it's fun to be a part of. You know, I've been different places, and you just don't get the buzz everywhere, and it's definitely special here.
Yeah, not except for when the Dallas Cowboys are on the clock. I can tell you that that here. But other than that, it was a buzz all day, man.
Yeah, that was probably the best part, was just seeing the boos of the division rivals every time they went and picked. It was a fun environment.
Hey, listen, we're gonna take those boos right into a packed house there in our stadiums for next year's season. So good luck to you, and I'm happy, all right, that you're joining us here today. I'm happy that the draft was such a success right here in Philadelphia, and the Players Association should be proud. So good jobs to you all.
Thank you so much.
Good stuff. That's Caleb Sturgis, a good friend. Thank you, Caleb, for checking in here on Saturday Night Live. Enjoy your time here in Philadelphia. That's Caleb Sturgis. Just a couple of minutes left in the big show, guys. Wow, what a quick hour. Bobby, again, I've got to come back to you and give you an opportunity to re-emphasize what it's going to be like when you walk in City Hall on Monday.
High fives. Right?
Yeah, I love
High fives. It's going to be football season.
Is the draft coming back to Philadelphia next season?
Look, so we can have some Vegas picks, right? And I'll take the over/under on yes.
Wow.
All right, that the draft will be back here next year. How can you not come back with a production as we had satisfaction, the cooperation from our mayor, our labor unions? We're getting the job done and having this kind of economic impact on the city of Philadelphia. We want the NFL to come back here, and we want to thank them for choosing Philadelphia.
Absolutely, Bobby, and we want to stay in touch with our listeners. You want to follow us on social media, on Twitter, at MyPhillyLabor, and of course, PhillyLabor on Facebook. You can like us, and we're ecstatic to be in touch with everybody. It's just an awesome thing to be a part of this PhillyLabor radio and down here at this spectacle. Unbelievable.
Live on Talk Radio 1210 WPHT. You heard Mike Barnes talk about the number or the manpower and what went into putting this event together. If you missed any of it earlier, this entire event, this entire parkway will all be unraveled, Bobby, in 8 to 10 days. We'll all be back to normal.
It'll be all be back to it'll all be back to normal thanks to all the workers that are involved. Football season in April.
Man,
I want
awesome.
to thank Mayor Jim Kenney for making this draft such a success.
Yeah, absolutely. And all the unions, Pat Eiding, our good president of the AFL-CIO, a lot of commitment there, and and of course John Dougherty in Philadelphia Building Trades. I want to thank Councilman Henon for being our co-host today, man. Awesome, fantastic.
All right, good stuff, Bobby. Well done, nice job. Thanks for coming out to the Parkway, and of course, J-Doc, thank you very much as well. As we close, and we bring you a close tonight here on Saturday Night Live with PhillyLabor. Special thanks to Richie Lazer. Special thanks to Adam Thiel, and of course Mike Barnes, and of course Caleb Sturgis for being a part of the big show. That's going to bring us to a close, and of course Ben Hill, the engineer here, keeping us on the air long after hours. Ben, thank you very much for pulling it all together. On behalf of Bobby Henon, on behalf of J-Doc, on behalf of John Dougherty, and all of our listeners who tuned in tonight, I'm Joe Krause. We'll see you next time.
Efficient, safe, and on time. I seen that open space. I hope you're saving that for medical marijuana, because I'm a big fan. I'm a big fan of that, and I just want to let you know, we're talking big numbers. We're talking, as you know, they're talking trillions, but we're talking mucho billions around here of unionized pension money. I haven't heard in 6 weeks one conversation about Russia yet. That's the reality. They come to me about jobs. They come to me a little bit about Obamacare, but they don't come to me about Russia. And with Philadelphia jumping out of the seams as a hospitality town, we need our transportation to be clean, efficient, safe, and on time.
This program is a paid commercial announcement and in no way represents the views of WPHT or its management.